And right now, we are 2 minutes away from the end of the trading day. Romaine Bostick alongside Alix Steel here to take you through the closing bell as we begin our global simulcast to parse the most crucial moments of the day. Scarlet Fu here in the TV studio. I believe Carol Massar came in today in the radio booth, and Tim Stenovec, who's always here, as well as we welcome our audiences across all of our Bloomberg platforms.
My digital twin.
Ooh, Carol, you always go dark here on these simulcasts here, and well, somewhat of a dark day in the equity market, at least if you're a tech stock. Red on the screen for the Nasdaq and the S&P, though a little bit of life for Dow Transports and Industrials.
Well, speaking of the tech area, the SOX down about 2.6%, so down more than the overall equity trade in a big way. Keep in mind, it's had quite a run since mid-April, up about 30%, far outpacing the S&P 500, but investors definitely pulling back on the semi-space today.
Yeah, worst day for the SOX going back to May 1st. So, going back quite a bit to last month, Scarlet. We saw quite a reversal, though, in chip names today, which I found pretty surprising, especially given that we saw Supermicro higher and Dell higher after that news about the companies teaming up with XAI.
Yeah, you're hearing a lot of commentary like buyer fatigue, overbought conditions. It's worth noting as well that the eco data that did come out, and I like how Cameron Kreis, Bloomberg's macro strategist, put it, it's all B-list eco data, but they all generally point to, yeah, I know, they all generally point to softer activity overall. So that combined with what we've been hearing from retail sales, the data doesn't look supportive necessarily of further gains, at least in the short term.
Okay, it looks like, guys, we're not going to get that 30-second record. This is a moment, not 30-second record.
All right, interesting moves here in the day. You are seeing yields slightly higher. Bitcoin trying to get its mojo back. But right now, all the activity in the equity market seems to be shifting, at least for today, a rotation to a certain extent into the Dow Jones Industrial Average and Dow Transports. Each up about 1% on the day. Dow Jones Industrial Average up 0.8%. Dow Transports up more than 1%. Meanwhile, the S&P 500 is going to close out the day lower by about 14 points, right around that 54.73 level, down about 0.3%. The Nasdaq Composite down more than 140 points, at 0.8%, and the Russell 2000 going to close out the day lower by 8 points, or about 0.4%.
All right, Romaine, back to the S&P 500 I go. A little bit of an even split, but a little bit more to the upside. 289 names in the index actually gaining some ground on this Thursday. 213 to the downside, and Scarlet 1 unchanged.
All right, let's take a look at the sectors in the S&P 500. There's 11 of them, but the biggest one, technology, is a real loser here on the day. That's the biggest red slice of the pie. The group off by 1.6%. REITs and staples also losing a little bit of ground. The best performers, energy stocks, 21 of 22 members are higher. Wow. And if you are looking at it from a valuation point of view, they are certainly cheap because they're cheaper on a PE basis than any other sector in the S&P.
All right, guys, the number one gainer in both the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100, Gilead Sciences. This one up about 8.5%, so just off its highs at its best levels today, up about 10%, but still a big gain. The company's experimental twice-yearly shot preventing 100% of HIV cases in women and adolescent girls in Africa. It's the first successful big trial of what's hoped to become a powerful new drug regimen for fending off the virus. As you know, we have not found an HIV vaccine as of yet. So this is a big deal. And about 1.3 million people are infected with HIV around the globe every year. So this could be potentially a big step forward. We're going to actually talk with Dr. Anthony Fauci in the next hour. So curious to see what he has to say, because he's done a lot of work, certainly, in the HIV area. We talked about the SOX. Not a great day, but AMD did have a bullish day, up about 4.5% in today's session. Number 3 gainer in the Nasdaq 100. Piper Sandler making the chip maker a top pick in the large cap space heading into the second half of the year. So some upbeat momentum in that one. And this one for something a little bit different. I know it's a small cap company. I know. I always get a little nervous that you're going to jump all over me. Ranpak Holdings, ticker is PAC. It was up 21% at its highs today, up at the close about 14%. Amazon announcing it has replaced 95% of the plastic air pillows from delivery packaging in North America with 100% recycled paper filter filler. So
that's why I haven't seen all the paper in the Amazon boxes, because of them.
I guess, yeah.
Better than that styrofoam stuff.
I guess if I had been paying attention, I would have could have rode the rally there.
You'll learn something new every day. Those small caps, micro caps.
Okay, it's not a micro cap. In fact, it's the complete opposite. It's a mega cap tech company, but it is the worst performer in the S&P 500 today on a points basis. NVIDIA shares, they were higher by as much as 3.8%, but fell as much as 4.5%. They closed the day down by 3.5%. They were higher along with other AI companies after Dell CEO said that the company is building an AI factory for XAI with NVIDIA.
Where is this factory going to be?
We talked with Ashley Vance a little bit about it. We shouldn't really think of it like it's an actual factory, right? I think that's fair to say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What is it? Just
server racks.
Okay.
Yeah, those sorts of things.
Okay.
Widgets will not be made.
Widgets will not be made. They will not be making AI in this factory. They will be training.
Training. Okay.
They will be training the AI to come after us. Come after us.
That's worse.
I think I'm pretty sure I saw a horror movie about this. But go ahead.
Speaking of AI, Qualcomm. Let's look at shares of Qualcomm and how they closed out the day. They did fall as much as 6.3%. They finished off their lows, still down by more than 5%. Biggest intraday decline going back to February comes after a Wall Street Journal report about Samsung's new AI laptop glitches. Link's equity strategists note that the report does not bode well for Qualcomm, which does supply the processor to these. The journal did report that Samsung didn't provide a detailed cause of the problem, but noted operational conditions on the laptops with the Windows 11 ARM and the Qualcomm processor. Also want to check in on shares of AutoNation, ticker AN. It's the largest automotive retailer in the U.S. Shares fell by 3.6% today. Auto retailers across the U.S. suffering a second major disruption in 2 days due to another cyber attack at CDK Global. It's the software provider that thousands of car dealers use and they rely on to run their stores. They do car repair orders. They do customer records, schedule appointments. They weren't able to do any of this stuff yesterday.
Yeah.
Still an issue for these companies. Shares down by 3.6% at AutoNation. And then DJT, Trump Media and Technology Group, shares falling today by more than 14%. The SEC did declare effective a regulatory filing that could dilute shareholders. And that shit made shares fall on the day.
Yeah, can you imagine though with AutoNation they have to like push paper around now? Like that's a whole different world than we were in before.
Keith Naughton described the software as part of the spine for auto dealerships.
That's a good way of looking at it. I'm looking at the bond market, guys. A little bit of a sell-off. Yields up just a bit off the highs of the session. To be sure, we did have a tips auction that was pretty strong. Actually, we had about $21 billion in tips. That was strong. At that moment, we're pushing back against all the supply. Not there yet, guys.
All right, we are talking about fast food, fast casual food today on the closing bell. We're going to talk about the Chipotle Boy Bowl. Apparently, it's 2 scoops of chicken. There's some black beans. There's corn. There's sour cream. Basically, Chipotle is really acknowledging. Listen up, this could be for you. No. It's a young urban, they're young urban male office workers that eat at Chipotle about 5 to 7 days a week. Right? It's a limited time offer, and you can get the Chipotle Boy.
Keep talking.
Help me, Tim.
Okay, so the Chipotle Boy Starter Pack, Chipotle tweeted about this. You got AirPods. You got some aviators.
You know these dudes.
You got your puffy vest.
Yeah.
Got your laptop with you because you're doing you're doing your work.
This all sounds like me.
Double chicken, white rice, black beans, mild salsa, corn salsa, sour cream.
You like your puffy
cheese
vest.
and guac.
This is a great place downtown.
Lettuce
Double
out there.
chicken, please.
What about finance gals? I don't know. This feels a little.
That's sweet green.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah, but come on. I mean, girls eat Chipotle. I don't know. I just feel like that's a little added touch.
Although,
but whatever.
That, Sweet Green is now making a run for the finance bros as well, right? With their steak edition. So they're going after the same market.
So then what the heck is a McDonald's doing? Because I was told I can walk in there and get $5 and just walk out with like 12
you can get a lot.
You can get a lot. Exactly. What? Fries, right? A sandwich, and what else?
Coke?
And 4-piece chicken McNuggets.
With the sandwich?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's kind of
that will fill you up.
I know.
Is there a sundae that comes with that?
No, but you also have Wendy's and Burger King also have similar things. But the idea is that McDonald's has the ability to have this kind of value war. Like they can execute.
The price war is on. The price war is on in the fast food space. It's really interesting that apparently, customers have been cutting back, I guess, going to McDonald's. So, they're cutting their prices, I guess, to bring them in. But I mean, how much money can they make on something that's $5?
But I think it's more the point of like they're trying to show that there's still value. So when you said, oh, look, this menu item might be $18 or $10, they want to be like, remember us? We are value.
But it also brings people in the store. So if you go in the store because you're enticed by this $5 meal, then maybe you'll buy that. And Romaine, maybe you'll buy something else that is, that has higher margins.
It's possible if I ever set foot in a McDonald's. But but the thing is, you remember, like for a while, they kind of staked their claim to that, right? When we went with the dollar menus and they got
but things were a lot cheaper.
Kind of shifted away from that. And there's been a lot of anecdotal evidence of people saying, look, I went into McDonald's, bought this basic, meal, and it was like, $15. And they're like, this is McDonald's. I shouldn't be paying $15 for this.
And now they're conceding that point to people who say that. One thing that's interesting is Darden Restaurants, which runs Olive Garden, they've refused to get in on this price war. They're saying, they say that they're offering price certainty. Stick it to the man, stick it to us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes.
What about
stick it to the Trader Bros, man?
Wait, are we the man? When did that happen? No one told me.
Oh my God, the tour of Italy though can be really good. I don't know if they still offer it, but it used to be really
What's
yummy.
in the tour of Italy?
Oh, a little bit of everything.
Breadsticks and you get the shrimp.
No, it's like some pasta, some
I said
like
that.
veal
The shrimp
parmesan. You get a little bit of everything, a little lasagna.
You get a little red wine with
All
that.
right. See you later, alligator. All right, that's a
We
wrap
done?
across platform coverage. Radio, TV, YouTube,
soon.
and Bloomberg Originals. You are done. We call it the closing bell. Folks, we will see you same time, same place tomorrow.